Welcome to another Stormgate video. Now, in this video, I'm going to be doing a deep dive, you can see all the tabs open, into what Stormgate is, why you should care, what can we expect, and what you could do. So, I have done a shorter video on this, which is about like 5 minutes long. This is going to be a much longer video going into, you know what, scrap it. My nose is too itchy. Oh my gosh, just when I start to go to YouTube mode, my nose gets itchy. Good grief. Only do that. Like, okay, one nose scratch, I can take it, but several nose scratches later, it's like, nope, nope, start. Okay, hello and welcome to another Stormgate video. Now, this video is going to be a deeper dive in what Stormgate is, why you should care, what you can expect moving forward, and what you can do. If you can see, I've got a lot of tabs open, so a lot of content to cover. I have created a shorter, about 5-ish minute version of this. This is going to be a longer deep dive version of that. If you're watching this for the second time and you like the content of the video, do remember to like the video. There's a button down below. If not for me, the Marine. Like. Okay. And of course subscribe. Alright, so let's go through this. So what is Stormgate? According to them, it is the future of RTS. It is a free-to-play. This is going to be very important. We're coming back to this later. Real-time strategy game set hundreds of years in our future, take command of the human resistance, the demonic invaders, and other factions yet to be revealed cooperatively or in solo. This is important. We'll get to this later. Build your base, leave armies, basically play RTS. We've got some videos down here. First, truly social RTS. Okay. They plan to do esports and they plan to do a story. When will it launch? Mid 2023. When can I get into the beta? Okay. So this is the basic information about Stormgate. It is going to be the next generation RTS. Now, why am I putting so much stock and faith? Now, anyone can come out and say the next generation RTS. The reason I am doing this video and I'm so hyped for a game that hasn't been released is because of who made it, which is Frost Giant Studios. Next tab. Now, who are they? Our mission to build the next great PC real-time strategy game. Okay, again, anyone can say it, but let's take a look at who is actually on their team. You have Tim Morton, director of StarCraft 2, Tim Campbell, director of Wasteland 3, but lead campaign designer on Frozen Throne. These are the two co-founders. You have James Arnett, which is the lead engineer of StarCraft 2. So again, you've got the engineer. You have Carl LaForge, who is, by the way, the mom of Tasteless and Day 9. Again, co-founder of Day 9 TV. So sports is covered, engineering is covered, business is covered, campaign is covered. You have Jesse Brosley, art director of StarCraft and Warcraft 3. You have the artist covered. Ryan Shannon, lead UX designer. We'll get back to this guy in a second, but again, he made Game Heart. Don't know what Game Heart is. It was the UI interface to make watching the replays of StarCraft 2 even better. If you watch any professional tournament, the UI that they are using is called Game Heart, which was developed by this guy. He was later hired by Blizzard to actually work on it professionally. You have Kevin Dog, which is the lead co-op designer. Of StarCraft 2. So again, co-op is taken care of, UI UX is taken care of, art is taken care of, client engineer for StarCraft 2. So another engineer, a server engineer, and then you have a writer. So this is kind of like all the building blocks together. And you notice to all of this that this is the StarCraft 2 team. Like, this is a who's who of who's in StarCraft 2. Core values, real time strategy. Okay, that's okay, but let's talk about how this came together. And the truth of the matter is that this came in the wake of what I'm going to call the death of StarCraft 2. So this is a very important post. This update was on November 15, 2020. To the StarCraft community. Business bullshit, business bullshit, business bullshit, business bullshit, business bullshit, business bullshit. We're gonna continue supporting. It's like, okay, yeah, why? And then la. Yeah, where was it? We celebrated 10 years. We're making changes. Here we go. What this means is that we're not going to be producing any additional for purchase content such as commanders and war chests, but we will continue doing season roles barely. And necessary balance fixes. There's been one patch. There's been one patch since this date. Moving forward, on that last note, we're not planning on a Q4 balance update given that we did not a few months ago. Yeah, basically what this post is saying is that when I say they, I mean Blizzard Entertainment, openly declared that we're not going to make any more paid content for StarCraft 2. What this means from a business perspective is that, yeah, we're basically shutting down the StarCraft 2 division. Because if you're going to tell the fans that, hey, the shop's not going to sell anything anymore, there's no money coming in, how can you expect the shop to have literally anything else except for what's already there? R&D, it's all gone. But here's the very, very interesting thing. So this thing comes out on November 15th. This comes on November 15th. This is announced on November 20th. Blizzard veterans from Force Giant Studios, Tim Morton and Tim Campbell, raised $4.7 billion in seed funding for real-time strategy game studio. There's actually a very interesting link between this down here and that Force Giant over there. Okay, so when I read the news about this at the time, I was like, I am still upset because there is still a skin set that is missing in the game. The Purifier skin set, it is in co-op. Only 3 buildings are missing. You have a fully functional skin set already in the game that they never sold. There's actually evidence that I discovered almost a year and a half later that they were actually planning another war chest when some kerfuffle Widowmine drop happened. Okay, so in retrospect of this news, what I think happened, okay, this is personal speculation. What I think happened is that the StarCraft 2 team effectively quit, resigned, and went to form their own studio here, which is why, if you look at this again, Tim Morton left, Tim Campbell left, Kevin Dog left. At this point at Blizzard, okay, which came first, the closure or the resignation is unclear. However, if you look at the timeline of when they left, you can see that a lot of the StarCraft 2 talent starts leaving up until this post. And immediately, within the same week of this post coming live, that StarCraft 2 is no longer doing paid content, Force Giant Studios is announced. And these guys are basically saying, well, Tim Morton and Tim Campbell and everybody else on this, they say that we're going to move forward and we're going to build the next great RTS. In interviews, they say that they still have a good relationship with Blizzard. However, in some of the other interviews, if you read between the lines, you can see that, things were not kind of going the way they were. One very important quote by Kevin Dong? Kevin Dong was that they never knew in the co-op scene what was going to happen the following year. So every co-op commander that they made, they designed it as, okay, this could be the last co-op commander ever. We're going to make it as good as we can be, rather than having a coherent strategy. Now that says something more about the business management planning behind that rather than the team. But you can kind of see, it's going to be kind of hard to create a game when you don't know what's happening the next year. Again, some of these projects, these are multi-year projects, right? Like you need to plan what's happening this quarter, next quarter, next quarter, next quarter, next quarter, at least a couple of years in advance if you really want to have a long-term vision. Of course, you need to be flexible, but at the same time, you need to do that. So this actually comes back to the next point I want to bring up, which is, okay, number one, the people. Number two is that they've actually got a lot of money. Not a lot of money, but they've raised a fair amount. Again, in November 2020, they raised $4.7 billion in seed funding. That's pretty much unheard of. It's probably because they actually had, an all-star team. Everyone here are veterans. This is not a dev studio. This is not like, a couple of guys trying out their first time. This is not even a couple of guys. This is like a dozen people at this point, all ex-RTS veterans, all trying to make the next great RTS. Immediately, $4.7 billion. 1 year later, well, not even 1 year, 6 months later, Force Giant Studios raised another $5 million and hired James, Frost Giant Studios raised 5 million from Coda Venture Partners, Global Founders, investment, founded by Already raised 4.5. Okay, so they've already raised $10 million in about 6 months. And and from there, again, $10 million. By the way, if you think this is a lot of money, number one, yes. On the other hand, you do need to pay your people. They are not going to have a product out for quite a while, so you do need this money to last. And the thing is, a lot of the people here, they can command good salaries, so you do have to pay them competitively. Yeah, you need to be able to at least compensate them. If you're going to do other things like marketing, you want to buy software licenses, you want to have an office, that all adds up. But it's a good sign that they were able to raise first $10 million and then another $25 million in Series A funding. If you don't know what Series A is, okay, normally what happens in business is that you have seed funding, which is, the initial, what they call the initial seed. You might have another round of funding or several rounds of funding in between that. You might have something called angel investors. I used to work at a startup. Then what you have is something called Series A, where you actually go out and, again, the details can differ from company to company, but you can sell a stake in your company to other investors for certain amounts of money. In this case, Calco Games, which is actually a Korean entity. I looked at it. Yep, was led by Koreans game publisher Calco Games, along with participants from so on and so forth. Global founders, Riot Games. Yes, Riot Games is an investor in Frost Giant. Something that the team have made very clear is that none of these investors, yes, they have a say, but they're not going to be like Blizzard, like dictating the pace of things. So, that's great. Frost Giant was over 2020. And they've raised, again, if you're counting, they've raised at least $35 million in funding. This is just Series A. There might be Series B where they raise even more money. This will be probably closer to launch. Generally, the way it works in business is that you sell small stakes to the company. Like, again, I don't know the specific details. Maybe they sold 10% for $4.7 million. Yeah. Yeah, they sell another 10% for $25 million. The reason that they can command a higher price is because they've actually developed a game at this point, or they are very close to developing the product. Again, they took some of the money here and they've made the game. They've made, a thing that you can physically sell. And that helps. Whereas in seed funding, okay, bottom line is they've raised a good amount of money into this project. And again, okay, so this is very impressive, but it really comes down to the people. Tim Morton, director and CEO, he is the lead member. You have Ryan Shutter. Now, this guy is very, very interesting because Ryan, based on my knowledge, oh dear, Ryan, based on my knowledge, actually started as a fan. He went then into modding. He created a mod that made the UI of UX of StarCraft even better, and then he was hired. So this is a guy who literally worked his way into the industry by creating something first. You then also have Tim Campbell, the other co-founder, game director. Again, all of their links will be down in the description if you want to go and give a follow. Then have Kevin Dog. He was actually almost a spokesperson when it came to co-op. And if you listen to his interviews, which we will get to a little bit later, he really knows what he's talking about, or at least he has a very, very deep understanding of, or a deep interpretation of RTS. Let's put it that way. Because, again, when we look at RTS, there's a lot of different ways to do things. It's all about interpretation. Yes, he used to be former Team Liquid, by the way. He used to write articles on their forums. Then he was hired at Blizzard, and now he's with Frost Giant Studios. Now, the next part about why Frost Giant Studios I think is great is because of their community interaction. Something that Kevin here has described as there's an approach called the Ivory Tower that he mentioned in, which is basically, the studio is silent and they just push out things that current day Blizzard kind of used to do a lot. But now the approach that they're taking is very community driven. So what Frost Giant Studios has done is that on their subreddit, they're posting these discussion topics. So the latest one, which I'm using as an example, is about the war chest. So they posted this long ass post about, We would love to hear your thoughts on a number of key areas related to war chest or battle passes. They've also done this for a whole load of previous topics, which I might be making videos in future. Another reason to subscribe so that you get those videos. And then from here, people started, commenting. If I were to purchase the pass, I want to complete it at my own pace. I was looking for the next topic, so here my answers. Da 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 da. Okay, Pyro Kid says, you hit the nail on the head. You know what works? Yes, again, they made the StarCraft 2 war chest. Skins are players a big fan for rewarding areas. I'm not a fan of it can only be obtained a certain period of time. I am a fan of rewards being available to players and achievements, so on and so forth. Omno55 also said that he bought the war chest, struck a great balance. It's continuously worked on, stressed about missing. Like, okay, the crux of this particular post, and hell, I made a freaking YouTube video about this, was that a lot of people, like, they didn't want to have a system where they felt forced or rushed to finish the war chest because people have busy lives, So, what they replied, our thoughts on the war chest. So this is what I love. They went through this post and they cited their sources, Omno55, I will kit back down here, and what they have declared is that we like the idea of keeping things chest to a war chest. Basically, how do you solve the problem of creating that kind of ticking clock to say that, hey, you finish all the achievements in this certain period of time, you get certain rewards that you paid for, against people who don't have enough time to complete it, because you don't want it to be out in perpetuity. What was their solution? We are likely to have our cake and eat it too by enforcing a time restriction for purchasing the war chest. This is really cool. Make this bigger. Note that period should be here we go. The idea of activating a war chest is an intriguing one that many will require investigation on the engineering side. So here's the thing. This is what they said they're going to try. They're going to have a system, again, subject to change. You go and talk to engineering. These guys. But what they want to do is that they want to have a system that you could buy the war chest only during that season. Let's say the first quarter of 2024. And if you missed it, you've missed it. But even if you buy it in the first quarter of 2024, you decide when you want to activate the war chest to actually get the rewards. To actually start grinding out. By the way, for those out of the loop, traditionally war chests or battle passes, you have to play a certain number of games or do a certain number of achievements to unlock the skins that you paid for. Which is not a bad thing, because in the StarCraft 2 war chest, you had a similar system. And people actually enjoyed it because it felt like you were earning the skins that you got. And yes, once you did it, you would get all those skins eventually. Yeah, so again, so this is really, really, really important because down here, they've also talked about heroes, asymmetry, all of these different things. There is a very high level of community engagement. Go to the Stormgate Reddit, every few months there's a new topic. There's a way for the community to engage and actually influence how the game is made. And that is critical. Yeah, so this is a lot of the interviews that they've done, especially when Stormgate was announced. And you should go, and again, I have it listening in the background while I'm doing my work. Another key reason I trust them is this. Okay, let's take this tweet by Frost Giant Studios. Our friends blah 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 building whatever. We're hyped to share that Flux from the da has joined us to help build Stormgate servers, networking, and matchmaking. Now, when I read this post, I'm like, okay, hired somebody, congratulations. Then I scrolled down and read this. For the uninitiated, this guy almost single-handedly saved competitive. Okay, by the way, this is from the Back to Warcraft channel, which is a tournament organizer for Warcraft 3. And it enabled us to create a worldwide server so the integral matches can be played on fan favorite. Okay, cut a long story short. When Warcraft 3 Reforged was launched, there was a massive problem with the servers. And this could be a real issue if you have ping. So in the context of StarCraft 2, which I'm a bit more familiar with, you needed to pick which server you were playing on. If I am based in, let's say, Western United States, and my opponent is in the Western United States, fine. We set to Western United States, we have almost zero ping, we're good to go. If my opponent is playing in Europe, we need to pick Eastern United States so that our ping is about the same. If the opponent is playing from India, you need to pick a server that both your pings are equally terrible so that the game is fair. Because if I am playing on Western United States and my opponent from India is playing on Western United States, I have zero ping, my opponent has, I don't know, 100, 200 ping. That's really, really, really unfair. So Frost Giant here picked up an actual community member to actually work on this particular area of it. Okay, so this is a general summary of why I'm so hyped for Stormgate, why I think it has a real chance of succeeding as the next great RTS. I've talked about the team, we've talked about, the people, the community outreach. Again, this is the ex-Starcraft 2 team. Here, everything you see here, even this website, as far as I know, were designed by the people at, as far as I know, working at Frost Giant. So what can we actually expect from this game? What have they promised so far? Alright, so what we know so far, this is from SGV. It's by StarCraft. This date. What's the gameplay like? Okay, here we go. Will be a little bit of everything, fantasy and sci-fi elements to create a compelling epic story. With our friends, massive story. Competitive mode where players can take and climb a ranked ladder. They promised that from day one. A sites on esports scene and a mode to qualify for matches, so on and so forth. Okay, let's go a little bit more into detail. Okay, so first of all, a disclaimer. A lot of the information here I'm going to be pulling from a site called stormgatehub.com. I genuinely don't know who made this site. I've been trying to find it. I don't know. However, what I've read in these next few posts have been consistent with what I've heard in the interviews. I've honestly listened to all of these interviews here. So while I don't know the actual author of this website or Twitter handle, I don't know whether it's Stormgate, I don't know if it's a fan, I don't know if it's a community member, but the information that I'm relaying to you is consistent with what I've heard in. Okay, so let's talk about game modes. What can we expect? The beta is coming 2023, social RTS, blah 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 blah. Tough to please everyone. So that's the hard part, right? Which is that RTS is a lot of different components. In StarCraft, you have the 1v1 ladder, co-op, team games, arcade, campaign. And arcade alone is a freaking like fractal of different things. So, okay. So here are the game modes that will be offered upon release. So they're gonna have a 1v1 player versus player. A core game mode of Stormgate will be competitive 1, separate balance issues compared to other game modes. Okay. So yes, you're gonna have your traditional 1v1, your 1v1, what more can we say? I play a fair amount of 1v1 and I do really enjoy it, but we're also gonna have other modes. Here we go. 3v3 player versus player. 3v3 will be another core mode of Stormgate. This is where we get into action, so for divert from 1v1. I'll try to really confirm that 3v3 will see significant change from other RTS games. There will be win conditions other than eliminating the opponents. Full details yet to be revealed. It's also unclear if 2v2 and 4v4 will be supported. Okay, so this was a key factor. This is a key factor, and I've been playing a fair amount of StarCraft 2 team games. So what happened in StarCraft 2 specifically is that it was designed entirely around, the 1v1, and almost no thought was given to any of these team games, which is a shame because a lot of people get into StarCraft 2 via their friends, and if there are no team games, you're just gonna crush the guy in 1v1. You're gonna feel good, he or she's never gonna play again. Player numbers go down. So what they essentially, what happened in StarCraft 2 is that they just took the units and mechanics in StarCraft 1 and said, okay, so here's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 against another 4 players. but there are a huge number of problems. In 4v4, as my friend said, it's too messy. There's no synergy. In 2v2, there's still some strategies and some niches, but it normally doesn't work. So one good thing they mentioned here is objectives. Right, so in 1v1, okay, the win condition in StarCraft 2 for 1v1 and team games is to eliminate the other player or have them surrender. In 3v3, we might have something different. What if, like, a point system about capturing territory? Or instead of destroying all the buildings, how about destroying the town hall? Something that you see in, let's say, Heroes of the Storm, where, or Dota, where the core is under attack. They might even have that in their interviews. They've talked at length about this is going to be really, really tricky to balance because we don't want 1v1 to be too different from 3, but we can't have it the same for balance reasons. So having different objectives is one way around that. Okay, so what else we got? Solo and co-op campaign. Another RTS staple, the Stormgate will be called the campaign. There is a dedicated thread. Yes, will there be a Stormgate campaign? Yes. Yes, okay, we'll get into the campaign a little later. Again, dedicated article about that. Yes, there will be a solo and co-op campaign, years to come, Okay, so what this means is that there will be an option. So this is something that happened in Red Alert 3, where there was a solo campaign, but in each of those maps, you had a co-op option. Basically, you and your commander both had a base. If you didn't have an actual human, it would be an AI. The AI was fine. It played almost identically standard RTS campaign, but with that simple option of co-op. So they also, again, co-op campaign. They're also going to have a game mode called Co-op versus AI. Based on everything I read here, this is one of the mechs. It will be similar to StarCraft's 2 co-op missions to play against the threat against the AI. Yeah, pretty much. In both the campaign and the co-op, you can have vastly different game modes, different objectives. StarCraft 2 co-op, by the way, is when statistics were announced. I don't remember exactly when this was. I think this was in 2018 or so. They mentioned that 60% of all StarCraft 2 games played are co-op games, making co-op the most popular game mode in StarCraft 2. I'm still a fair amount of co-op. I've got a whole bunch of co-op videos, in fact. Check out my YouTube. Okay, and finally, they want to have a custom games and arcade. Last but not least comes arcade games, the Tower Defense, Dota, many others. Custom games, then we'll see a huge range of arcade games once map editors are out. As a side note, so these are the 5 modes: 1v1, 3v3, or team campaign, co-op, and arcade. By the way, given that arcade came last, I would not be surprised if custom games and arcade came out significantly later than literally everything else here. All we know at launch is that there's going to be at least a 1v1 game mode, and the rest of these things will be there soon after. This one, the custom games, this might take the longest to come out, simply because it will take longer from an engineering standpoint to make a tool that is as versatile as it needs to be. This requires more testing. It requires more potential input. Once it's out there, the community can start making things. It's going to be awesome for Force Giant because it means that the community can start making games. The majority of the games in StarCraft 2 Arcade right now are player generated. Okay, so that's what we know about the game mode. What do we know about esports? It will support multiple competitive modes. Okay, we talked about the 1v1, 3v3. Esports have different objectives. Yep. Grassroots esport will be esports for everyone, amateur to so on and so forth. So they've talked a lot of things about in-game tournaments, which could be, I think, really good for the game. We already have this in StarCraft 2. It's not promoted as much. They also plan to have a competitive circuit. There'll be 3 seasons every year, directly tied to new game content. Okay, so this is key. So they're gonna have, different seasons, and at the end of the season, going to Force Giant, maybe they release a new hero or not a new race. That's a bit too big. Maybe new maps or new content, basically, right? Maybe a new game mode for co-op. Again, it will tie in with the esports. So when you're playing on the stage, right before the finals, maybe Tim Morton or Kevin or some of these other Force giants, they get to come up on stage and say that, hey, we're happy to announce that the next season we're going to be introducing XYZ. These are events rewarded by Force giants. They aim to be third-party events. There will be a World Championship events likely annually, tie-in, so on and so forth. It's important to keep in mind that things are still very fluid and will not be finalized. Yeah, so the other thing about esports that they do need to be very, very careful of is the cost. Because, in the early days of esports, what it really, really was, we're talking Quick, by the way, it was literally marketing for the game. Its software sponsored Quick tournaments because they figured that more people watching Quick tournaments leads to more sales, right? But we did have sad situations like Heroes of the Storm and Overwatch League, where they threw a lot of money at it to try and develop a scene that never really developed, money that could have been better spent elsewhere, making the game better. Then later on, after that, you then had innovations like the Compendium in Dota, where buying skins directly supported the esports scene, which is how you had some of the largest prize pools ever in esports history. So we'll have to take a look at that. Okay, what else do we know? When is the Stormgate beta? When do we actually get to play the game? Okay, it will be mid 2023. I think this is going to get pushed back to late 2023, but that's no date has been revealed. They think May to August 2023. Yeah, okay, mid 2023. This is subject to change. How to get to the Stormgate beta? Go to the website, which is here, and your email. We'll get into what you can do for Stormgate towards the end. I've got a lot of tabs open for that. Okay. Will Stormgate have heroes? Alright, so there's still many questions left unanswered. Okay. This is one of the most controversial questions that was posed right from the get-go. Because you had people who... Because this is basically the split between StarCraft 2 and Warcraft 3. Warcraft 3 have these extremely strong heroes that the entire game is balanced around. And StarCraft 2 has none of that. None of that. So what do we know so far? It's been confirmed at least that the Frost Giant are experimenting with heroes in Stormgate. Now hold on. And I actually asked a friend in Discord whether he thought it would be a good idea, and he immediately went on a tangent like, no, it's terrible. It puts too much power in a single unit, makes the game slower. And then I pointed out to him that the game that we were playing, StarCraft 2, has a hero unit. It's the Mothership. The Mothership unit in StarCraft 2 has the heroic tag. And you can only build one Mothership. So what they're saying here, there was an interview that Monk gave, again, one of these, was that they are designing hero units differently from Warcraft 3, more in line with units which are stronger but not able to completely turn the tide of the heavily losing battle. Like in Warcraft 3, if you're in a battle and your hero dies, the entire army breaks and routes. Which is actually kind of fun because that's very historically accurate. Like if the king dies in battle, yeah, you've lost the battle. Your army will break and retreat on the spot. I don't know any historical battles where the king dies and they still win. All of the Alexanders, like when Alexander fought Darius, in the campaigns in Persia, the moment the king Darius ran away, Alexander won the battle. Now, Alexander had to do a lot of things up until that point. But once the king fled, the army disperses. That said, they want to create a more balanced version of that. And yeah, this has been a bit decisive. Some fans love heroes, others hate them, or aimed at fresh touch heroes. Hopefully they'll fit in the game okay. Alright, so what do we know about the campaign? It's been planned for a long time. So something that they mentioned in one of their interviews is that, yes, they're going to create a campaign, and they're going to do it... this is the important one right here. They're going to be free to play. is safe to assume that the initial campaign will be free to play. However, it is possible that missions that come after may have to be purchased. They may come part of a battle pass or simply alongside cosmetics. We'll have to wait and see. Okay, so yes, this is going to be touching on something very, very important, which is monetization. Stormgate has mentioned that because it's free to play, how you're going to make money. Well, one way up front is the first campaign is free, maybe the first chapter or the first 5 missions. Mission 6 to 10, you have to pay $10, $5, I don't know the pricing, but you have to pay money for those. This allows them to keep adding on campaigns and have charge for it, but only if you want to. So another key part about monetization is that they mentioned that yes, we're going to be selling skins, we're going to be selling content such as this, war chest, battle passes, whatever you want to call it. One thing that they have stressed very, very, very strongly is that this is going to be free to play, but not pay to win. So they're not going to be selling, as far as I know, they're not going to be selling units and races like, oh, you have to pay additional money. Well, you have to pay money if you want to play the demons, the infernal host, which, by the way, happened in StarCraft 2. What do I mean by that? Right at the beginning of StarCraft 2, there was this thing called Starter Edition. You could only play Terran. Now, this was in 2011, I would like to say. If you want to play Zerg and Protoss, you had to buy the full game. Are they going to do something like that? I don't think so, but just putting it out there, what has happened in the past. Now, let's talk about them races. Okay, so how many races will Stormgate have? So what do we know about the races in Stormgate? The game is still very early in development. It's been confirmed there'll be at least 2 races in Stormgate, the Human Resistance and the Infernal Host. Infernal Host, Human Resistance. There have also been heavily hinted at a 3rd race with Frost Giant CEO Tim Morton using the term 2+. We're talking about Stormgate race. So basically what they say in this article, and I agree based on the interviews that I've heard, is that there are at least going to be 3 races at launch. My personal speculation is that in a world with demons, or Infernal Host, you need some sort of angelic counterpart to that. The real question is, are you going to get the Warcraft 3 where you have 4 races? Or Dawn of War, so on and so forth. We're also going to see more phrase, nothing's confirmed. So even in StarCraft 2, there are technically only 3 races, but there are a whole bunch of sub-factions. Here we go. I'll essentially say races, but with slight differences, different units. For example, in StarCraft 2, the Zerg has 3 different sub-factions. You have the Primal Zerg, led by Dahaka. You have the Infested, led by Stukov. And then you have the Standard Zerg, what you traditionally think as Zerg, led by Zagara. So those 2 are subordinate to, I would say subordinate to Zagara, although Dahaka personally would disagree, but they're all under the banner of the Swarm. On the Horde in Warcraft 3, you have the Tauren, you have the Orcs, you have the Trolls. Even the Alliance has the Humans, Elves, Night Elves, Gnomes, so on and so forth. This might be something, but basically we'll have to wait and see. Okay, so this is a summary of what you can expect in Stormgate, a summary of all the updates. Again, by the time you're watching this, there might be even more updates, which is good. If not, you just have to keep your eyes peeled. So, what can you do? What can you do to help out? First off is to wishlist on Steam. Every single one of these interviews that I listened to, that was the plea. That was the one plug that Kevin or Ryan or Tim or Kevin and Kevin or Tim kept saying, wishlist on Steam, wishlist on Steam. The reason is simple. The more a game is wishlist on Steam, the more likely it is to be promoted to other people who haven't discovered the game. Look, when you go to the Steam page, and yes, it's going to be on Steam. Okay, whoever is here has probably paid money, but whatever that you scroll down here is likely to be also based on recommendation. Because the game is not out, it based on Steam list. Like Among Us VR is here. All of these Saber Beats is here. Like popular. Let's go to popular upcoming, right? So these games have all not yet been released, but these are the items that when I click, I see. Heck is this? What the heck is Super Kiwi? Okay, look, the fact that I even clicked on this is an indication. This looks so cool, actually. This looks so. Yeah, you see what I mean? Okay, enough about Super Kiwi. Back to Stormgate. And I have no issues shilling like hell about this game because it's free to play. I don't have to deal with the pre-order issue that you have with video games. It's free to play. Wishlist it, give it a try. If it sucks ass, it matter. Give it a try. See for yourself. That's all. That's all. That's all I'm asking. That's all the developers are asking. I'll tell you a story right now. There was a friend of mine who was actually in some of my videos. You have to scroll down quite a bit. Yeah, a friend of mine who I was teaching StarCraft. Who? Where the heck is he? Yeah, basically what happened was that he got the game when it was oh, it's really way down here. Yeah, these videos. He got the game when it was free to play, no money upfront. I bought the game 2016 at discount, so like $30. He then went on to spend more money than me because he bought about four commanders at $5 each, a skin set, and an announcer. I did the math. There was a point in time that a friend of mine chose to spend more money than me on this game. What does that mean? It means that StarCraft 2 to him was so good that he was willing to pay money for additional content because it was that good. This is what Stormgate is saying. This is what these guys are saying. Give our game a chance. No cost to you upfront. If you like it, you have stuff for you to buy. If this is not good capitalism, I don't know what is. So that's one. Wishlist on Steam. Sign up for the beta. Links, all of the links that are up here will be down in the description of the video. Yeah, okay. Now the next thing you could do is, again, we've already been here. This is the Stormgate subreddit. Go and join the mob. By the way, what I'm gonna say applies to everything on this point about the free social media stuff. This is important for metrics. This is important for marketing. This is important for investors. Think about it. If you have a subreddit, look, let's say Stormgate here goes to the investors for Series B. There's a massive difference from saying that I have 1,000 members in my subreddit versus I have 1 million versus I have 10 million. They are able to command more respect and more clout and more prestige by having these numbers. Yes, Twitter and Facebook are here and Instagram, but this does matter. All of these metrics, like when they go to an investor who's wondering, should I give my money to these guys? Well, are people interested? They'll check how many members of their subreddit, how many followers on Twitter, or how many people have wishlist on Steam. Oh, 10 million? Okay, I'll invest $1 million for 1% or something. All of these metrics matter. And I'll be very honest, as a content creator, to see people actually like your videos, it does make a difference, especially when you're working in the dark, so to speak. Okay? So all of these numbers matter. Now, on the Stormgate subreddit, of course, you can post your own stuff. You can write your own fan art. More importantly, it is number one is to get news, and also if you have time, do participate in topic discussions. They are a lot of fun, and I post here as well. There we go. Yeah. Okay, so apart from that, there's also their Twitter. See, this is why, right? Concept Cat, aka Cinnamon, says wishlist Stormgate on Steam. So one of their artists took time out of their day to draw this cat, and don't know if it's in this video, but somebody actually has a Okay, so this is for Stormgate itself. Now after that, this is the link tree for Force Giant Studios. All links, including the link tree, will be down in the description. Do go and follow all of these. Following. So you have the Force Giant Studio Twitter. You have a lot of great content. In fact, they are very active. Grab your tissue. 10 years of celebrating fun with Carbon animations. John and Carbon have been great friends and partners over the years, and even made our Force Giant Yeti logo. So I don't know about this logo, but the initial logo up here was actually designed by Carbon Animations, whom are the people who made the Marine. Yeah, okay, basically they're made by the same people. Yeah, so go and give them a follow, go and check out, go and do stuff like, tweet, retweet. Engagement does matter. When they are talking to the investors, they're talking to, other people, or the media. The media is like, well, what's the next upcoming game? Oh, okay, First Giant, all right. How many Twitter followers do they have? Okay, 34,000, that's a good number. Okay. There's also the Frost Giant Reddit itself. Everything I said applies. This number needs to be higher. I posted here as well. Honestly, a lot of discussion. Most of the discussion is now over at the Stormgate side, but you can still come here. In future, if they make another game that's not related to Stormgate, this will be the place to be. This was also the subreddit that existed before Stormgate was announced. They also have a YouTube channel with a fair number of videos, which you should go watch all of them, I would say. Like, subscribe, and all that. Okay, they also have a Facebook page. Not as active. Okay, quite active too. If you have issues with Meta, I fully understand. If you're already on Meta, then go and give them, a read through, like, and so on and so forth. Like, if you want to comment, go ahead. Facebook. They also have a Instagram. Okay, this one I can say not as active, but it exists, and you see stuff that you don't see elsewhere, like this picture. Is that Cobra Venom? Huh. Yeah, this is actually where I got the link tree from. They also have an Insta. They also have a LinkedIn. Oh, it's so funny. Okay, so for those out of the know, LinkedIn is a professional social media network. This You're gonna get a lot more of the business stuff here, like this interview about free-to-play monetization with Tim Morton. Um, Another interview where Tim Morton was on talking about crypto and other things like that. So if you're on LinkedIn, sure, go give them a follow. Okay, this was just the last thing which was on the link tree, which was the store. It's actually on Shopify, but it's currently under construction. Alright, so this is all the things you can do. Yeah, I am done. This has been a deep dive in Stormgate, into what it is, why I think it's interesting, what you can do to support the endeavor. I do have some plans to make more Stormgate content in future, so do give a like and follow. Again, closing words, do go add it to your wish. It costs you nothing. It's just a few clicks. If you're watching this, you probably have Steam. Open it up right now and just press that add to wish list button. That's all I have to say. Thanks for watching. Made it this far. Like, not for me. But a marine. Like.